I will be the best wife and best friend. Nancy Moore was 28 years old and working in the accounting department of an insurance company. It was 3 in the afternoon when she received a phone call from her husband, Jack. "Hi, Nancy. Are you working overtime today?" Nancy sensed something wrong in Jack's voice. "Are you okay, Jack?" "What's the matter?" Nancy asked. She was a little worried. "I'm fine. I got home early today and wondered if you'd be here by 5:30. "There's no overtime today." "Do you want me to leave now, honey?" Nancy asked. "Don't worry, I'll just rest for now. I'll see you later." Jack hung up the phone. Nancy was sure something was bothering Jack. She went straight to her boss's office. "Nancy, we need to go over some files during overtime today," Alan Perkins reminded Nancy with a broad smile before she could say anything. "Alan, I'm here to ask permission to leave early. Are you all right?" Alan frowned. "I'm fine, it's Jack. I don't think he's well. He just called me from home." "Do what you need to do, Nancy. We'll catch up next time." She looked at her boss and nodded. When Nancy entered the house, she found Jack napping on the couch. "I'm home, honey. Are you feeling all right?" "Yes, of course I am." Jack sat up. "I'm a little tired. You came in early." He glanced at his watch. "I canceled work right after you called. I know you, Jack Moore. Something's bothering you." Nancy sat down next to him on the couch. "The thing is, we need to talk." Jack turned his face and looked Nancy in the eye. "Oh, God," Nancy thought. "Please, I don't want any bad news." She took a deep breath. "What do you want to talk about, Jack?" she asked fearfully. "I don't know where to start, except that we've grown distant from each other lately." Nancy frowned. "I'm going to be honest with you, Nancy. I've fallen out of love with you." "What?" Nancy twitched. "Honey, we're a married couple and we have a lot of goals for our future. You know I'm going to be off the pill in a couple months. As we discussed, I want to have our first child by early next year. We'll buy our own house and—" "I know, Nancy," Jack intervened. "I met someone." "Someone?" Nancy couldn't hold back her tears. "Yes, a young woman. And we're in love. I'm sorry, but there's no easy way to tell you this." "But Jack, how could you do this to me, to us?" Nancy was still trying to process what was happening. "We've known each other for 5 years and married for 3. In the last 6 months, you've changed and you've been neglecting me." "I've never neglected you, Jack. I've always been here for you." "You started with your weekly overtime, sometimes twice a week." "But Jack, I did it for us. We need the money to buy a house." "Then you started your weekly hen parties with your co-workers. After that, you went shopping every Saturday for a couple hours a day." "I work so hard, Jack. I need some time off for myself. Do you ever think about me?" Jack almost screamed. "Instead of meeting your co-workers, we could meet once a week for a date night. On Saturdays, we could go shopping together." Nancy stared at the floor. Now she realized what she had done. "Please, Jack, I love you. We can work this out." "Nancy, 3 months ago when I talked to you about these problems, you were angry. You even raised your voice at me. Do you remember?" "I'm really sorry, Jack, if I hurt you. 3 months ago, I didn't think so. Now I know I only cared about myself. Please, Jack, give me another chance. Let's work on our marriage." 3 months ago, I was completely depressed. On my lunch break, this woman came and sat next to me. She works in another department. She noticed that I was crying. She talked to me. A couple days later, she asked what was wrong with my life. I told her everything. I needed to share my pain with someone, and she became a shoulder to cry on. "Is she the one?" "Yes, Nancy. She's the one." And gradually we became emotionally attracted and finally fell in love. "What's her name? What does she do?" Nancy asked, with tears running down her face. "Her name and what she does is not important. You're better off not knowing her." Were you too close? Yes, Nancy, I'm so sorry. How could you? Nancy screamed. Nancy, tell me, when was the last time we made love? Okay, it was... Nancy struggled to remember. It was a month ago, and it wasn't love-making. We just made love real quick because you were so tired at the time. During these past 6 months, you were always tired. We've only had sex 3 times. But, Jack, you should have asked. You should have done something about it. Nancy, sex is part of being a couple. It happens naturally. There's nothing to ask. So you were getting things from her that I wasn't giving you. Yes, and more than that. Nancy frowned. She does what you've always refused to do, Jack continued. So she's better in bed than me? Nancy sobbed. I'm sorry, Jack. If I couldn't be enough for you in bed. You'll be served tomorrow. I've filed for irreconcilable differences. I took 50% of our savings today. We will keep our respective cars. We both work. Alimony is out of the question. The lease on this house expires in a few months. I'm staying here. I'll move into the guest room tonight. You better call your parents and explain everything. I suppose you'll move in with them. Will she move in here in the meantime? No, she won't. She doesn't want to touch your stuff, our furniture, or anything else that reminds her of you and our time together. In fact, we've already found an apartment in the new Lakeshore Heights complex. We chose a condo with a balcony that overlooks the lake. The building will be ready in a couple months, which is good for me since I'll need to move out of here at almost the same time. Lakeshore Heights, Nancy thought to herself. That's where I was planning to move, and I wanted to convince Jack to buy a condo there. But why don't you move in with her? Nancy asked. She has a roommate in her 1-bedroom apartment, and they had originally decided not to bring in any third parties. For that reason, we always had to book a motel room, and sometimes we did it in the back seat of my car. Jack, I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you and grow old with you. Is there any way we can work on our marriage? I will turn a blind eye to your 3-month elopement with this girl. I'll never bring it up, I promise. I'll give you everything she gives you. I will never deny you anything. We can go to counseling. Unfortunately, Nancy, I've already made my decision. Jack's up. I'm going to take my things to the guest room and take a little nap. What if I refuse the divorce? I'll fight it. You'll spend a lot of money on attorney's fees, and worst case scenario, I'll just move far away with her. I'll stay married to you, but I won't live with you. You can't do that, it's illegal. It really is. There is no law in this country that can make me stay here with you. Jack, don't go, Nancy exclaimed. Later, she called her parents and briefly explained the situation. Half an hour later, they were sitting next to her in the living room. How could he do that to you? John, Nancy's father, was furious. He can't give up 3 years of marriage because you don't care about him for a couple months, Mary shouted. He should have talked to you and worked things out. It was my fault, Mom. Nancy wiped away her tears. I neglected him, and it pushed him into that woman's arms. He needs to realize that you were doing all of this for both of you. And you needed some time to yourself because of the hard work, John said. I want to talk to him. Please, get him in here. No, Dad. He's resting. You can talk to him in a couple days when you've calmed down. Will you pack your things and come with us? We'll help you, Mary said to her daughter. No, Mom, I'll stay, Nancy said while her parents were confused. I'll try to get him back. Are you sure? Both parents asked at the same time. Yes. Okay, we're leaving now. But if anything happens, just call us. You got it? Yes, Dad. Nancy went to her room and cried until she fell asleep. In the middle of the night, she woke up and went down to the kitchen. She found an empty pizza box next to the garbage can. He didn't wake me up for dinner. He only ordered food for himself. Nancy hesitated. She drank a glass of water and went back to bed. The next morning, as she left her room, she heard the garage door slam and Jack's car sped away. She packed up and drove to work. Before lunch, Alan Perkins, her boss, called Nancy into his office. "You've been acting strange since this morning. I think you've been crying. Is everything all right at home?" he asked. "Jack's divorcing me." "What? How? Did he?" "He found someone else. He's in love with her." "I'm really sorry." "He said I neglected him, and it's true." Nancy lowered her head. "He found solace in a young woman working for his company." "Do you need some time off? You can take as many days off as you want." "I'll let you know when I need them. In the meantime, I prefer to come to work, but I won't stay late." "I understand." That afternoon, Nancy cooked Jack's favorite meal. When he got home, the kitchen was filled with the aroma. He headed straight to his room without saying a word to Nancy. Later, he went downstairs, washed, and changed his clothes. "I have a date tonight," he told Nancy. "I've got things ready for both of us and—" Nancy almost cried. "You'd better not cook for me, since we'll be eating separately from now on." "As you wish, Jack. When can I expect you back?" "I don't know what time I'll be back." Jack headed for the door. "I love you, Jack." Tears streamed down her face. Jack closed the door behind him. The next day, when Nancy got home, Jack was already there. Nancy put her purse away and went into the kitchen to pour herself a glass of water. The doorbell rang. "It's for you," Jack said without looking at Nancy. She frowned and went to open the door to a man in a suit. "Are you Mrs. Nancy Moore?" "Yes, I am." "You've been served." He handed her a manila envelope. "Have a nice evening, ma'am." The man turned and walked away. Nancy almost fainted when she took the envelope. She had to lean against the wall. "Please sign this, and let's get on with our lives," Jack said into her back. Nancy turned around and looked Jack straight in the eye. "So for 6 months I neglected you, and you forgot all the good times we had together. I told you I would change, and I will. I'll be a better wife and a better friend. Please, I'm begging you, Jack. I'm only asking for one more chance. This was a mistake. Can't you forgive me?" "A mistake? How can it be a mistake if you planned it all out in advance?" "It's not what you think. You tell me what I should be thinking, about the good times we used to have together. So you put an end to it. And believe me, the time I'm spending with her now is much better than the time we had together. Just sign the papers, okay?" Jack made his way to his room. Nancy sat down and opened the envelope with trembling hands. She looked through the papers and signed them. Later, when she went into her room, she heard Jack talking on the phone. His door was open. "Yes, baby," he said. "She was served this afternoon. The countdown has begun." "I love you too, sweetheart. You going off the pill right now is a good idea. We can get married right after the divorce with your bloated belly. You'll look fantastic in your wedding dress." "What?" "We'll make love in your white dress with your pregnant belly hanging out." Nancy went into her room and closed the door behind her. "If only I could go back in time," she said to herself. The next day, she woke up early, left her papers on the kitchen table, and drove to work. There she called her parents and told them about her situation. They asked her to pack her things and leave the house. She only replied that she would do so. She later informed Alan Perkins that she had signed the divorce papers. "It must be very hard for you?" he asked. "You can't imagine how much. It's like the whole world has come crashing down on me," Nancy sobbed. "You shouldn't let yourself be humiliated. You're still young. Maybe life has other good things in store for you in the future." Jack was my future, and I blew it. "Can we go for a drink after work to take the pressure off a bit?" Alan Perkins asked. "It all started with drinks after work, remember?" Nancy turned around and walked to her workplace. As the days went by, Jack would come home late after dinner at the restaurant. When he was home, he made his own sandwiches. He did his own shopping. Nancy began to behave more defiantly at home, walking around in shorts and a tank top with no bra. Sometimes she would come into the kitchen wrapped in a towel when Jack was there. She would play the music and songs he liked best. Sometimes she would bow to him. She always waited for him in the evening and tried to strike up a conversation. Sometimes he would refuse, pretending to be tired, and retire to his room. But sometimes he would sit down and listen to her. She never spoke of the other woman. She always made it a point to bring back their old memories together, where she saw the sparkle in his eyes and the smile on his face. But then, he would change the topic of conversation. On weekends, Jack would mow the grass or find something to do to keep himself busy, avoiding Nancy. In the evening, he would go out alone and return very late. One Friday night, she called Jack and asked him out that night. It would be dinner and dancing. He said yes. She was extremely happy. Even her co-workers noticed the change in her. She got home early and got ready. She applied nail polish and chose the dress Jack liked best, a turquoise pleated short-sleeve dress. She did her hair and carefully selected her makeup. They had a nice dinner, talking about everything but their actual situation. For a moment, Nancy felt like everything that had happened in the last 6 months was like a nightmare, and she just woke up, leaving everything behind, like they were still the madly in love couple they used to be. After dinner, they got their drinks and went to sit near the dance floor. A man came over and asked Nancy to dance. She looked at Jack, who shrugged his shoulders. She politely declined, and the man left. "Will you dance with me?" she asked Jack. Without saying a word, Jack stood up, took her hand, and dragged her to the dance floor. They danced for 5 songs in a row. They moved to the beat of the music. As they walked back to their table, a slow song came on. Without saying a word, Nancy pulled Jack onto the dance floor, snuggled up to him, and rested her head on his shoulder. He could feel her breath on his neck. For weeks, she had wanted to hold him, feel his body next to hers, and make passionate love to him. Pulling Jack tightly against her, she slowly rocked her hips. She didn't care if people were watching or what they thought. She was with her man and could do whatever she wanted. She kissed his neck. "Let's go home," Jack whispered in her ear. Nancy smiled. On the drive back, Jack concentrated on driving, while Nancy sat humming the songs they had just danced together. After Jack parked his car in the garage, Nancy ran to her room, leaving the door open, undressed, and lay naked on the bed waiting for her husband. Jack walked down the hall, past Nancy's room without even looking at her, and headed for the guest room. A shaken Nancy lay on the bed trying to comprehend what had happened. She jumped up and rushed into the guest room. She opened the door without knocking. Jack was shirtless. "What happened? Why aren't you sleeping with your wife? It's been weeks since you've touched me, and I'm horny as hell. And I know you are too, because I could feel it on the dance floor." "Nancy, we're getting a divorce. We can't be intimate." "We're still married, and I'm still your wife. Please, honey, make love to me." She walked over to Jack and tried to put her arms around him. He avoided her and sat down on his bed. "Take what is yours, Jack. You can possess every inch of my body. I will never deny you anything." She sat down next to him and tried to kiss him on the lips. He turned away and she touched his cheek. "Please, Jack, don't leave me. Don't divorce me. I love you. I'm only asking for your forgiveness. I know we can work things out. Let's just forget about these stupid 6 months like they never existed. You can do that, Jack, because you don't hate me." "It's a little late for that, Nancy." "It's never too late, Jack. Your weakness led you to someone else. You were vulnerable because of the situation I created. I was stupid and selfish. I've realized my mistakes, and I promise it will never happen again. I will be the best wife on this earth." Jack said nothing. There was a detached expression in his eyes. Nancy knelt down in front of him and took both of his hands. "I will be your slave, Jack. Your wish is law to me. You can beat me every day. Punish me for what I did to you, humiliate me. But Jack, be my husband until death do us part." She cried. I can't. Jack looked her straight in the eye. But why can't you? Because I can't cheat on her. Nancy jumped up in anger. She screamed. Who is she, by the way? Can't you see she's the Separatrix? That fool seduced you and played on your weakness. She knew you were married, and that didn't stop her from seducing you. How do you know she won't cheat on you? She won't. Whatever you tell me you'll do now, she'll be something more than that. Resigned, she walked to the door and stopped. I'm tired, Jack. This divorce is eating me up inside. I'll call my parents first thing tomorrow to come over and help me pack, she said without turning to face him. I'm really sorry for my mistakes. Please forgive me for the pain I caused you. I wish I could have been wiser. I wish you a happy life with your future wife. She left for her room with her head down. The next morning, Nancy's parents came in early. Dark circles under your eyes, sleepless nights again? Mary asked. Nancy didn't answer. You should have left this place the first time he dropped a bomb on you, John told his daughter. I know, Daddy, but I wanted him back. Just forget about him. There are plenty of young men out there who will fall in love with you in a heartbeat, Mary spat out. I have to say a few words to that asshole. Wake him up, John raged. Just leave him alone. You're wasting your time, Dad. Mom, go help me with the packing, please. You wanted to talk. Jack was coming down the stairs. Yeah, asshole. John turned red with anger. You're a real asshole. Dad, please. Nancy shook her head. I need to tell that asshole what I think of him. John turned to Jack. Because of your male ego, you can't accept that your wife should have some private time to herself, too. She worked very hard overtime, and for what? To bring in extra money so you both can buy a house as soon as possible as planned. Maybe she went a little overboard with her bachelorette parties or Saturday shopping, but she needed that so she could relax. She admits she made a mistake and apologizes. So what do? You cheat on her with the first cheater you see and make her cry with love for you. Jack was silent and stared intently into John's eyes. Nancy grabbed her father's arm and tried to drag him upstairs to her room. The first day you brought him into our home, I knew he wasn't right for you, Nancy. You were so much in love that I kept quiet and prayed I was wrong. Come on, John, Mary reassured him. We have more important things to do. Mother and daughter took John's hands and led him upstairs. Jack opened the door and found John's van in the middle of the driveway. He decided to walk the 2 blocks to the nearest cafe. On the eve of the hearing, Nancy took a few days off work. Along with her parents, they went to spend some time at their summer cottage. She wanted to be away from the crowds. She knew the divorce would be granted by a judge, and she didn't want to attend the trial. She didn't want to be disturbed by friends and co-workers. She asked her parents to turn off their cell phones. The next morning at 11 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. All 3 of them looked at each other. No one knew where they were. Mary opened the door to Jack, who was standing at the entrance. I have something to tell Nancy, and it would be good if you were present, Jack said to Nancy's parents. How dare you come here, asshole! Get off my property now! Shouted John. Nancy was silent. She didn't know what to do. I've tried calling and even stopped by your house. I assume you have all your cell phones turned off. Jack turned to Mary, ignoring John. I knew all of you would be here. He was still standing in the doorway. What do you want, Jack? Nancy found the courage to ask. The judge has already granted the divorce at 10 o'clock this morning. As of today, we're single. You came all this way just to tell my daughter you're single again? Mary raised her voice. Please leave before I break your jaw. John jabbed his finger at Jack. My daughter has suffered for the last 3 months, and you came here today to hammer the final nail in the coffin. I suffered for 6 months and no one ever noticed, screamed Jack. Everyone was stunned by Jack's sudden outburst of anger. He pushed Mary aside and entered the room. I've never had a mistress, Jack barked at Nancy. I never cheated on you, Nancy. It was a setup. But why? Nancy was shocked by Jack's revelation. John and Mary froze. "Why? Can you say the same thing?" Jack asked. "Say what? That you never cheated on me?" Nancy suddenly felt her legs growing weak. She couldn't stand. She collapsed into the chair. Jack turned to his former father-in-law. "For all of those 6 months, your daughter has been making love to her boss, Alan Perkins." There was suddenly complete silence in the room. John and Mary couldn't believe their ears. They looked at their daughter. She couldn't meet their gaze. She began to cry. "All that overtime, bachelorette parties or Saturday shopping, it was all a sham. You had sex with him in motels or in the backseat of his car. I had a private investigator following you around, and I have DVDs, lots of DVDs. Please, honey," John pleaded with Nancy, "tell me it's not true, that he's lying." "I'm so sorry," exclaimed Nancy. "I could have divorced you with all the proof I had. But I wanted to do something to make you suffer, to make you feel what I felt, to make you know what it means to be deceived. I wanted to make you hurt, to make you feel pain, to make you bleed." Jack spit. "You did things to him that you always denied me. You know what I'm talking about. You let him humiliate me when he was with you. You gave him what was mine. You disrespected me. You had no time for me, but you spent every spare minute with him. You're the worst cheater I know." Nancy cried louder. Mary hugged her husband tightly. "Turn on your cell phone. You must be getting hundreds of calls from work and from Alan." Nancy frowned, picked up her cell phone and turned it on. She had a lot of missed calls and messages. "Since we were still married yesterday, my attorney filed a lawsuit against the insurance company and Alan Perkins. Alienation of affection is still a crime in our state." "Oh, no!" Nancy exclaimed. "According to my attorney, we can get up to 7 figures. One good use for your deception is that you'll bring me some money." Jack laughed. Nancy glanced at her cell phone. The missed calls were from her work and from Alan Perkins. She read the last text message. It was from HR asking her to call them as soon as possible. She scrolled down to Alan's message. He was frantic. "By the way, I contacted Alan's wife yesterday and gave her the DVD set. She said she would send him to the cleaners and prevent him from seeing his 2 children. She even offered to make love to me in retaliation. I'm going out with her tonight since I'm currently single." "He's got a family." "Why did you do that?" Nancy asked. "I didn't do anything. You're the one who destroyed their home when you started sleeping with him. And you know what's funny? I intend to move in with Mrs. Perkins for a while to rub it in Alan's face because he still has to pay the mortgage while I make love to his wife in his own bed." "It would be better if you left now, Jack," John said. "Right now, we're going to have to deal with our own misery." "I'm not done yet," Jack roared at John and turned to Nancy. "I'm sure the insurance company has already fired you. Alan, too. He had sex with you after hours at your workplace and demanded overtime for you. I don't think he'll get another job in the financial sector." Nancy couldn't look Jack in the eye. She just shook her head. "By the way, last month I lost a bag containing a set of your famous DVDs, and this morning I found out that they had been uploaded to the internet with your names, phone numbers, and addresses." Jack smirked. "Don't worry about getting fired. I'm sure you'll get a job in another field." "Oh my God," Nancy fainted. "I'm done now." Jack walked to the door and turned to face John. "This asshole wants nothing to do with all of you and doesn't want to see you again. That cheating asshole can rot in hell." He turned and walked out of the room. "The end! Subscribe to my channel. Thank you!"